I do have... I feel like there was other things, but I have a spider story.
Oh. Classic spider story.
Yeah. Did anything else happen that was stressful?
Spider in your towel.
Don't tell the story before I tell it.
Oh,
I already got a hint.
I wrote spider up there.
sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Hello.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby.
And I'm Shauna.
And this is Anxious.
And Afraid.
True crime comedy disaster podcast.
Anxiety all around.
For everyone involved.
That's what we bring, and that's what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what's up, Abby? What's making you anxious these days?
What's crack-a-lackin'? We discussed just like America again as blanket.
Yeah, so things have already changed drastically since our last recording.
Yes.
And we're feeling light and hopeful, actually.
I'm feeling better. I'm dipping my toe into hope.
I'm fucking jazzed, okay?
Shauna's cheerleading. I'm afraid to be hurt again. So
I understand.
I
But I am ready for the ride now when I was dreading it.
don't know. I still have my barf bag in my hand.
Bring your barf bag, but let's go on this roller coaster.
Oof.
Because she's queen. Oh my God. Okay. I'm sorry.
As before mentioned, I have a spider story.
Oh, yeah. As also Michael detailed.
Yeah, but I feel like it's been pumped up too much, and it really wasn't that.
It's going to be stupid.
And now it's a letdown, no matter what I say. But my spider story is and this is always the worst because I took a shower, right?
Your most vulnerable time.
Most vulnerable. And
not only naked, but naked and wet.
And wet. So both of those things are happening. But I do have a towel on at this point. And I have a separate little microfiber towel that I use for my hair.
Same, girl.
Yeah, I gotta treat those curls right. So anyway, that's hanging on the hand towel rack. So I grab that and I start, using it on my
Putting
hair.
it on your hair.
And then I feel...
Which is right by your face.
Right by my face. And then I see something just drop out of the corner of my eye.
Ew.
And I at first ignored it. And then I was like, wait, what was that? And I looked down.
Scary.
Big, thick.
Big and thick?
It was like those really big, thick jumping spiders, but it wasn't a jumping spider.
Oh, that's bad because you like the jumping spiders.
I do kind of like the jumping spiders.
We've had this discussion.
They're A-okay by me. I did keep one as a pet in the house for a little bit.
When?
Last year.
Oh, you're a little psycho.
Only because...
I'm just kidding. I'm not trying.
Only because it was in my plant corner and it was hanging out with all the plants.
I can see how they're cute.
I named it Harriet the Spider.
Harriet the Spider is so cute. I feel like I know somebody else who kept a little spider. Don't they last a couple weeks?
We eventually just didn't see her again. I don't know what happened to her. She might have died. But
she went to live her other best life.
She's like Charlotte. But so anyway, that was in the bathroom. In my hair, basically.
She can't be hanging out in your hair towel. That's not acceptable.
I know, and there was one in my bed a few weeks ago. I'm just like,
in your bed?
Really invading
Summer's
on
not okay.
The most personal of spaces. I'm trying to be chill.
Stay in the freaking corners.
I know, just not
know
in
your
my
place.
bed.
I mean, your place is outside, but at least be in the corners where I cannot be bothered.
Yeah, I pulled back my covers and a spider ran.
Absolutely not.
From where my pillow was. Where I lay my sweet little head.
Is that worse than the cockroach story?
I don't know.
They're both pretty bad.
Just not in the bed, please, because now I will never feel safe again.
That's happened to Chad, too, I think. A spider in the pillow.
Horrifying.
No, thank you.
Anyway.
Sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. I'll get over it. What made you anxious or afraid this week? Or last week? Whatever week you want to pick.
However many weeks there was. Well, I lived my fantasy life, and I got to see my favorite teen band, Blink-182. I don't care if you like them or not.
Blink-182.
I feel like I get hate and love for it, but whatever. They're controversial. I don't know why.
They're controversial. Are they?
I don't know. I feel like people hate them. I feel like everyone I know hates them.
I don't hate. They're they're totally a product of our
they're
childhood.
for millennials. Yes.
that was what
It was
that
all
they were
about.
the shit back then.
It was all about the nostalgia of it and them being back together. Oh my God, I cried at the end. I wasn't expecting it. Yes, I'm that much of a nerd. It was so much fun. Okay.
It was in Portland.
Yeah, so I had a little girls' getaway. That was fun. So finally did that. And yeah. But I also have like kind of a Final Destination story that I kind of linked you in already.
Oh,
But
right.
it's
so
a perfect
good.
story for the podcast.
It's so good. I don't think I told Michael.
Okay, well, guess what? Homeownership. Yay. So one of our cool things that we love about our new house is that there's a ceiling fan in the like outside backyard area where it's covered. Love that for the summertime. Been using it.
Yes,
It
it's very
creates
cool.
the breeze. Love
Yeah.
it. And it has light to it too. Anyways, it started to get like squeaky. So I couldn't have it on like the highest setting anymore. So I put it on medium setting. And I was like, well, that's just a fan. You know, fans squeak.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So then I mentioned it to Chad and I was like, should we eventually be worried about that? Like, should we WD-40 it? Like, what do we do? He's like, no, don't worry about it. It's nothing. And I was like, all right, you're probably right. It's a ceiling fan. But my gut was like, no, it's coming after you. And after like a couple more days of me being sus of it, I couldn't shake it. And I
Yeah.
was like, what's going on with this fan? Because it's like wobbling a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then it started screeching and wobbling and like just making more sounds it shouldn't. And then I was like, no. And I like grab Rylan because we're out there enjoying ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
like, not taking chances. I grab her, we're going inside. And later on, I turn on the fan. And lo and behold, one of the fan blades just whips off the the fan.
so scary.
And luckily it wasn't like going fast or anything. But I was like, oh my God.
That could have happened while
It
you
could
guys
have
were out there. Women's
coming for me.
intuition is no joke, and you should always listen to it.
I know, like what a silly, like mundane thing. But I was like, that fan is coming for me. I just know it. Why? And here we are. So now I don't have a ceiling fan outside, which is so silly.
It sucks that you don't have a ceiling fan, but it's good that you still have all of your limbs and
Limbs, yes.
skin attached.
I'm grateful to be alive.
Yes, that's scary.
It's a little bit scary, right?
It is, because like, what if it had been on high and that blade?
It could have actually like flew into the like other neighbor's yard. I don't know. It could have just been way harsher of a situation, I guess. But
And just speaking of millennials, we grew up with Final
Final
Destination.
Destination.
I almost said Final Fantasy, which was also a thing, but not the same.
but you don't drive behind a log truck. You just
No.
naturally don't.
Just
or
we
you
all
keep
have-
major distance.
Yeah, just these like crazy phobias.
I think all subconsciously just yep.
What is it? The dishwasher.
Oh, you! I'm terrified of.
What is that called?
Is that why you don't?
Garbage
Garbage
disposal.
disposal.
Wow,
It's
are you okay?
disposal. Those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
They are scary. I hate putting my hand down in them. I
Yes.
hate it. I hate it.
So anyway,
Anyways, that happened.
fear corner.
Fear corner. But also living my best life at the same time. So yay!
Yay.
Stupid. All right. Oh, do we have a shout out?
We do have a shout out.
Guess what?
We have a new Fanny fan.
I love finding out we have little new fans.
I know.
Little new fans.
We always. I think my favorite is when somebody just randomly tells us about it.
Oh yeah,
And
because I'm always shocked.
always. Michael, do you want to do the shout out?
Oh yeah, this is from a coworker of your sister Katie's, right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Riley.
Thanks, Riley.
Riley, thanks for listening.
Did you freak out just now? You didn't know this was coming. Yeah, so anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting.
Appreciate it.
If you guys want a shout out, you just got to ask.
Sure. Yeah. Let
we
us
don't-
know.
We never deny. I think we always, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Absolutely.
I double dog dare you.
Please do. We love to feel loved. Anyways,
Anywho,
do you want to crush our dreams somehow?
yes. Oh, I'm here to crush your dreams and your mood.
You do bring doozies, so I'm kind of scared.
I love it. Okay, so it's episode 112.
112.
I'm back on the evens.
Is it a competition again?
I just love, I don't know why.
I mean, everyone does prefer evens, right?
I like the even number episodes until I
Sure.
do another two-parter. I always screw myself over for the most part. Okay, so I have a story for you that will make you feel a lot of things. And for me, at least, the overwhelming emotion I felt while researching this case was fury and frustration. And you're going to see why. And this was actually, I think you probably know what this, we kind of talked about this.
Stop.
But it was a very popular request. We've had multiple people request this topic.
Multiple people?
Yeah, we've had a few people at least.
Okay.
Say they want this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of been a popular request. It's been on my it was already on my list. Like I've been percolating on this one.
Okay.
And I think we have talked about it before, so you'll probably
trying to
know
figure out
some details.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out.
I'm surprised you don't already
Have multiple. I have an idea, but I don't know if I remember like multiple requests for it.
Oh yeah, it's been at least 3 people I think have asked.
3 people.
Yeah,
I'm shook. Okay, what
including my sister. Okay,
I forget.
one of my sisters, Hannah did. Okay, so without further ado, today we will be discussing the 2012 Costa Concordia cruise ship disaster.
I knew it. That was the one I was guessing. I don't remember other people. Okay, I must have forgotten how much it was requested.
Well, I think maybe some people like individually asked or like sent it to me personally,
Probably,
maybe, so
yeah.
you didn't see them. But
Okay, yes, we did get the request for this recently where we both discovered, like, I almost actually started working on this exact topic. Like, I wrote it down. I think I wrote down, like, maybe a paragraph, and then I did my crazy decision, which I always do, is I quickly changed the subject, and I did something else. I don't know when I did that recently. But yeah, oh my gosh.
So it's kind of fun because you actually know a lot.
I kind of do, a little bit.
And
But it's been a little while since I've studied that.
it was probably one of the closest times we've ever come to doing the same topic.
Honestly, yeah, because I actually wrote something. I wrote it down.
You actually started doing it.
Tried to do it.
Wild. Okay, so the Costa Concordia cruise disaster was a maritime catastrophe that draws more than one parallel with the tragic sinking of the Titanic.
Yes.
So get ready for those references.
Of course.
I feel like I just always end up talking about the Titanic somehow.
I mean, because we really can find ways to always bring it up.
We just make her fit whatever we're talking about.
I mean, this really is modern day, like, ship disaster, Titanic-esque.
Yeah.
That we've witnessed.
And it's just crazy. It's because it's modern. There's just all of this footage and like pictures and videos. And
it was so beyond preventable. Like, so beyond. Okay.
So, before I start the story, I kind of already know because we've talked about it, but how do we all feel about cruises?
Yeah.
Would you ever go on one?
I'm still very torn because you are very excited with the idea of a cruise, and I am very much not. I'm scared.
Michael, how do you feel?
Never.
I guess I'm going to be going on this cruise by myself.
I mean, okay, again, like, yeah, I can picture like maybe a girls' trip, but I also like I don't know, maybe Disney cruise would be fun. Don't make fun of me, but like,
which is like the opposite of what I would ever want. From
I know,
a cruise.
actually, because all the kids. If it was like an adult only, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
but then you're dealing with
I don't
Disney people.
Hang out with Disney adults.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what's going to convince me to go on a cruise. I really rather not.
I know. I don't know why I still want to go on one when I literally only cover like the worst of the worst disasters. But now I know all the things that can go wrong, but I still want to.
I mean, okay, yes. If we were like, this one being like a Mediterranean cruise, I can so see that.
Yeah,
being very nice.
I want to do either something like the Mediterranean or like an Alaskan cruise.
I always heard Alaskan cruises.
I want to see the icebergs.
Pretty.
I want to see the whales.
That would be cool.
It'd be so pretty.
I just don't picture cold. You know?
Yeah, but you could be all bundled up in your little cruise parka.
Sure. You know,
I'll talk you into it. It's fine. I can be convinced.
If you buy the ticket, I might be.
Oh yeah, if you buy the ticket,
I
might grace you with my presence.
I guess I'll be forced to go.
Okay, well, I guess it's just a hard no for Michael.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that situation where some ship wasn't allowed to dock or make port, and they were just like piling up buckets of human waste because they couldn't.
Wasn't that the COVID boat?
I think.
I think I watched an episode on that and how that was very awful. Also, the rooms tend to be really small.
True, because I think a lot of times probably not going to be in your room for the most part.
You really are just kind of in there to sleep. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Something about it gives me claustrophobia.
I get that. I totally get that. I just, I feel like the magic would probably wear off pretty fast, but I just want to wake up and look out and have nothing but ocean.
It would be eerie and beautiful. Well, no, I guess all the lights from the ship would pollute the night sky, wouldn't it? Because I would love to see like
just no
massive,
lights,
like
pitch black.
Yeah, you're in the middle of the freaking ocean.
That would be really cool.
All right.
Well, anyway. Okay.
You're not going to convince me with this story either.
That's true. I don't know why I just asked. I'm about to dash all my hopes of getting a cruise partner. Okay. All right. I will begin our story today with a ceremony often performed when a new ship is launched, a christening. Many of you are probably familiar with this tradition, which involves breaking a bottle of champagne over the new ship's bow. The tradition is said to bring good luck to the boat and its crew. Also, using champagne is significant because it denotes wealth and prosperity and makes fun bubbles when the bottle breaks.
Okay, true, yeah.
In the past, people sacrificed animals or even people for the same purpose.
No.
So champagne was a preferable choice.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Ew, people, just a random, what?
People used to get sacrificed for all kinds of stuff.
For a ship's luck?
I mean,
Wow, people are brutal.
in the past, I guess I could see it because, like, you could die so easily on a ship. It was probably a lot more common back then. So maybe they thought blood for blood kind of a thing. I don't know.
Not convinced, but yeah.
Convinced. I just imagined you way back in the day. Not convinced.
Just trying to bargain with Poseidon, like, here's the first one, so go ahead and give us a break for a little while, okay?
There you go. See? It's a bargaining chip. I don't think it worked. But,
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure if this is still the case today, but you would be hard-pressed to find a more superstitious group of people than sailors. Especially in the olden times, it makes sense that superstition was rampant when your life was at the mercy of the sea, which was very unpredictable.
Yeah,
and
oh my
cruel.
gosh, totally can see that.
All right, so sailors took their superstitions and traditions very seriously. And while many of their practices have gone by the wayside, the tradition of christening a ship is still a popular one. Fun fact, I don't know I think we might have already talked about this before, but the Titanic was never christened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so do with
If I knew that, I
information.
forgot. And that's interesting.
Right? Look what happened to her.
Doomed.
So-
Poor girl.
Stuff like that. Then they're like, well, this is clearly, like, works. So,
Yeah.
okay, so technically, the Costa Concordia launched in 2005, but it didn't come online until 2006. So in July of 2006, a grand ceremony was held in Rome to christen the mighty Costa Concordia cruise ship. After much pomp and circumstance, a large bottle of champagne suspended by a rope. This was like all captured on video. Have you seen it?
I do remember, so I am replaying it in my brain, yeah.
Yeah. So there's this big bottle. It's suspended by a rope, and it gets hurled over the ship's bow. It came swinging towards the side of the ship.
And it just doinks off the ship.
You can watch it where there should have been like an explosion of glass and bubbles. There's just this resounding thud as the heavy bottle hit the ship and bounced off.
Yeah, it's actually quite comical if I remember it.
It is. It's like such an awkward video because like you can hear like a groan come from the
oh,
crowd,
no.
but then they start awkwardly like playing the band, like the grand
The music.
music that they.
Oh, that's awkward.
I know they just
Didn't they
start
try
up-
again? Didn't they keep swinging it?
I think it. I mean, it kept swinging back and like bouncing against the ship, but
It just wouldn't break.
No, it did. It did break. It's so awkward.
That's quite the bottle, man.
Yeah, and also a very bad omen.
Yeah, people were like sketched out already.
Yeah, not a good start. So for those who believe in bad luck, there would be another sign of terrible things to come. But before I get into that, let me fill you in on some of the ship's history and who captained it. The Costa, I can never say this word, Costa Crociere.
Costa Crociere.
It's like,
Oh, so lots of consonants?
yes, they are a subsidiary of the Carnival Corporation. So they owned the Costa Concordia. I'm sure we've all heard of Carnival cruises. They're
Yeah.
like one of the big ones in the cruise ship industry.
Sure.
At that time, the Costa Concordia was Italy's largest cruise ship at 951 feet, which is 290 meters. That's larger than the Titanic. And with a passenger capacity of 3,780. Much like the Titanic, no expense was spared on the luxurious features included on the ship. The ship cost $570 million to build.
That's expensive.
That's disgusting.
But I'm also not shocked at all.
No, I guess it's not shocking, but it's just so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Costa Concordia had 5 spas, a casino, 5 restaurants, a Grand Prix motor racing simulator, 4 pools, a poolside theater, a huge gym that included a this is another hard one.
A thassel?
A
what?
Thalassophobia?
It's that, but it's for therapy. Say it again.
Thalassotherapy?
Thalassotherapy pool.
Oh.
What is
It's
that?
a fear of deep water.
Oh, it's a deep, deep pool that you can dive into, like deep?
It's a therapy pool, so maybe it helps you with your fear of deep water.
Maybe.
I honestly didn't look it up, but I was like, ooh, that's cool. Because like I totally follow like subreddits on thalassophobia.
What a word.
I know, it's a hard one. I feel like I can read it just fine, and then when I try and get it out of my mouth, it's just like... Yeah.
Thalassotherapy, or seawater therapy, as it is sometimes known, is the use of seawater and seaweed for a variety of cosmetic and medicinal purposes for
I like that.
reducing the appearance of cellulite and relieving joint pain.
That's right. I actually did look this up because I was like, what is that? Yeah, you get to like float in seawater and stuff.
Right? I like that. I'd be
Yeah.
down for that.
Yeah.
And the ship also had a Turkish bath, just like the Titanic.
Oh my God, how fun.
A Turkish bath!
Okay. Maybe I am getting a
Selling
little
you?
I don't know. It just sounds fun.
Right? So the list honestly goes on, but reading about all of the excess is kind of sickening. So let's move on to who captained the doomed ship.
This guy.
Francesco Schettino, was born on November 14th, 1960, in a small coastal town near Naples, Italy. The Schettino family had a seafaring history, so it only made sense that he would also take up life on the sea. Schettino would go on to attend a nautical institute in Italy and then work for a ferry company. By the time he was 41 years old, Francesco was hired by Costa
Crociere.
the company. I'm not going to say that other word. Okay.
Okay, we get it.
He's hired by Costa as a security official in 2002. After working as head of security, Schettino was promoted to second in command, and then in 2006, he was promoted once more to the esteemed position of captain. With this promotion came a command of the beautiful and sparkling brand new Costa Concordia cruise ship. In July 2006, the captain took the ship on its maiden voyage, a 7-day trip through the Mediterranean Sea, with stops in France, Italy, and Spain, which would become the ship's routine schedule. Before the major disaster, Schettino's career as a captain had a couple hiccups. So in November 2008, the Costa Concordia bow was damaged while docked in a city in Sicily. The high winds caused the ship to slam into the dock, and while no one was injured, the boat had to be repaired. I don't really know how that one's his fault.
Sure.
It was just docked.
It's just, I guess, history of the boat being damaged.
Yeah, like he was in charge, but like he's not in charge of the weather. I don't know. Maybe he could have.
We can let that one slide.
We'll
maybe
let him slide. We'll give him a pass on that one. But maybe less forgivable was an event in 2010 in which Schettino was captaining a different Carnival ship and entered a port in Germany at too high a speed, damaging the ship.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the claim was contested, but still doesn't look great. Okay, are you ready for the other bad omen?
Yeah.
So we are now jumping to the main event, which took place in January 2012 on the 13th, which just happened to be
Friday.
a Friday.
What is up with these stories with these creepy little coincidences with Fridays the 13th and like numbers? It freaks me out.
I feel like normally I don't really give it a lot of credence, but then
We've had so many episodes that were like, by the way,
this was on Friday the 13th. I don't know why.
oh, that's so eerie.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, that's another one. Okay, so the Costa Concordia had picked up its passengers and crew in Italy and was now embarking on its standard 7-day cruise. On board were 1,023 crew members and 3,206 passengers. Many of the passengers were from Germany, France, Italy, but guests came from around like 40 countries. So there's people from
Everywhere.
everywhere on the ship.
Yeah.
Including, I think there's like 125 Americans.
Yeah.
Fun fact, it was reported that one of the guests on board was a descendant of a Titanic survivor.
Oh, really now?
Yeah. Talk
Aw.
about pushing your luck.
What are the odds out of all the cruise ships and the things happening? Huh.
Titanic.
Again, another eerie coincidence.
It's just, there's a lot of just really weird little tidbits in this story like that.
Ooh, that gives me chills. Just like.
But also, it might have just been one of those exaggerated reportings. I couldn't find any, like,
sure.
I didn't see a name or anything. So,
Sure.
I mean,
We're going to like to believe it.
Well, yeah, we'll just say it's true.
It's cooler that it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ship began its journey with Captain Scatino at the helm around 7 p.m. and 3 hours later was sailing along a small island off of Tuscany called Giglio. At that time, it was surrounded by rocky outcroppings and had fewer than 2,000 inhabitants. So pretty small. At this time, Captain Scatino decided to do something called a sail-by. I'd never heard of this tradition, and it seems wildly unsafe and unnecessary.
It really is unnecessary, but
I've never been on a
cute if
cruise.
it's done right, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's
a cruise thing. I don't know.
I don't know if it is
Maybe
now,
it's
but it used to be
maybe
a lot
not.
more common. At least back then, it was
Sure.
like the company allowed it. It wasn't off limits.
Yeah.
So a sail-by is essentially a tradition where the cruise ship gets ridiculously close to shore and toots its horn to all the people on land. The cruise people love it. The land people love it. I guess
Say
it's
hi
a
to
great
each other,
time.
yeah.
Everyone has a great time.
Hello there. I see you.
You're in a big boat. Oh, it's so close to land. That's
I
crazy.
do feel like that's a thing. Like, I feel like I've waved at people on boats, like at the coast.
Oh, yeah.
And like, we don't know them, but I'm like,
No.
hi, you're on a boat.
I don't know why. It's just such a thing in all the movies. All the
Like
people
such
on the
a
boat.
fun little human thing.
Yeah. They're like,
I think it's cute.
it is cute. Okay.
But you can stay like not very close to the shore.
Sure. I mean,
Well,
can
I
you
guess-
imagine like the Titanic cruising along like so close? You'd be excited.
And this is like 3 times the size
yeah,
of that.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It would be crazy to see. And this wasn't the first sail-by that Captain Scatino had done. He had done several before this and had even done one the week before.
Okay.
But apparently, after that sail-by, the captain was determined to get even closer to land and had assigned crew members to find a closer route, which was the route that they were testing out on January 13th. In the evening, by the way. At night, in the dark. It was later reported that the ship had come so close to land, it was within the area permitted for swimming.
Oh, no. That's not okay.
Oh,
You're like a whole skyscraper on its side in
Yeah.
the water. Like
you're like the Mall of America, like floating like 1,000 feet from. It's just
Mall of America.
It's so crazy.
That's wild.
The island of Giglio was also pretty used to seeing sail-bys, especially since a retired Costa Cruise captain named Mario Palombo lived on the island. He had been a mentor to Scatino for many years, and it wasn't uncommon for a sail-by to be conducted in his honor. Although for this sail-by, it was reported that the retired captain wasn't even on the island at the time. At around 9:30 p.m. on that evening, the retired captain would actually receive a call from Scatino asking about the rocks, near land, and letting the captain know that they were going to be doing a sail-by for him. And then the retired captain was like, I'm not even there,
bro.
And then apparently during that call, the line suddenly went dead.
Oh, what?
And I wonder why Scatino had to hang up. More on that later.
Okay.
On board, there was also a maitre d' who was from Giglio, and his family lived there. So the sail-by was also kind of for him. Mm-hmm. Lastly, though the captain would later refute this, he was having an affair with a former cruise ship employee named Dominika Simortan. I think she's like Russian. Oh, Moldovan. Sorry. So she's a 26-year-old Moldovan contemporary dancer who had worked on the ship a month prior as a Russian translator. The pair had evidently met on the ship and started up an affair. She was on board this cruise as a non-paying passenger, not an employee. And it had been widely speculated that the captain was also trying to impress his new girlfriend with the sail-by.
Sure.
She was reported to have been on the bridge with the captain at the time of the incident. Scandal.
I mean, I totally believe that.
Right? Now, a sail-by in these waters, especially an untested route, could be extremely dangerous due to all the rocks near the shore. Sometimes they poked out of the water, sometimes they lurked just beneath the surface. It was around 9:30 in the evening when the captain and his mistress, who was not authorized to be there, stepped onto the bridge. And let's just take a quick break right here. Come back.
Yep.
Wait, one more time. I think I started recording too late. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Oh. Well,
Okay.
welcome back.
Oh, from here?
I guess.
Such a great
Transitions around here are very smooth.
We know what we're doing.
This is very professional.
Anyway, we're back.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's do this.
All right. So the captain was preparing to perform the sail-by and looked out to the seas. The water was calm, almost like glass as they sailed through. Now, adding to the danger of the maneuver was the necessary step of turning off the alarm for the navigation system so that they could manually deviate from the course in order to perform the sail-by.
Because the boat itself would know, like, nah, man, it's too dangerous.
Yes, exactly. That's what it would say.
That's the alarm. Nah, man, it's too dangerous. Nah, man, it's too dangerous. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, that would be funny.
Okay. I think we have a new business venture. We
need to make alarms.
Chill alarms.
Dude, rocks.
Yeah.
Dude, rocks.
Yeah.
Maybe not though.
This is a great idea.
Okay. Okay. So alarm system is turned off because even the ship knows that the sail-by is a bad idea. Another element that would add to the upcoming disaster was the language barrier among some of the crew.
Ooh, yes.
So the captain was Italian. The helmsman, who would be executing the orders, was Indonesian. From what I could find, the orders were given in English. So
that makes so much sense.
So much sense. So in the aftermath of this event in court, there were experts who said it wouldn't have mattered if all the orders were perfectly understood and followed. But I mean, Captain Scatino definitely placed the blame on the helmsman for not following his orders perfectly.
Sure, to take anything off of him.
Right. So the alarm for the navigation system is turned off, and Captain Scatino begins relaying orders to Jacob Bin, the helmsman, to manually steer the ship. The captain gives an order, which is repeated back by the helmsman and the first officer. And because this is a modern case, we have the audio recordings of the orders being relayed and repeated back, which you can go online and listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. In these recordings, you can hear Captain Scatino giving an order, which is sometimes repeated back correctly, but others not.
So painful.
It is. So in the confusion, one of the orders was misheard or not executed properly, and the helmsman steered the ship in the opposite direction from where he was ordered to steer it. Ugh. By this point, Scatino had spotted the rocks that they were about to hit and was becoming frantic as he demanded a course correction, which took 13 seconds to execute.
This is so Titanic.
Yeah, I mean, 13
Instead
seconds.
of icebergs, it's rocks.
It's rocks. And they did not have
time to turn.
The spare. No, they didn't have a spare 13 seconds. So in the recording, you can hear the captain basically saying, "Do this or we will end up on the rocks." As the ship approaches the rocks, by the time it was like about to hit, they had deviated from their course by more than 800 meters, and it was too late to avoid disaster. In the moments before the collision, the black box audio reveals the captain saying, hard to port. But in the confusion, the first officer shouts simultaneously, hard to starboard. So it's just like a fucking mess up there.
Oh my God. That's so sad.
I know. So not unlike the Titanic, the bow of the ship was able to clear the rocks, but the stern was not so lucky. At approximately 9:45 p.m., the massive cruise ship collided with the reef, tearing into the Costa Concordia's port side, ripping a 174-foot or 53-meter gash in the side of the ship below the waterline.
Wow. Chills.
Fun fact, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is 185 feet tall, so the rip in the ship was almost as long as the Leaning Tower.
Whoa, when you say it like that, that's weird.
I know. I had to look up. I was like, what is this long? Just to give some perspective.
Wait, does that mean if I see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, it's actually going to be a really small building?
Wait.
I haven't been there. I haven't seen it.
This is tiny. I guess it's like half the length of like a football pitch. There was like other things that I looked up if you want a sports reference, but
I mean, still way too big.
It's
too much.
a devastatingly long gash.
And this is happening at night too, which also happened with the Titanic. I wanted to know what time the iceberg hit the Titanic. If it was like
it was like just before midnight, I think.
Or was it later in the night?
It was like 11 something.
Okay,
PM.
I think you're right. All right, so
which honestly was like kind of close to the same time.
It's
too.
really eerie. Yeah,
there's a lot of weird similarities. So the ship hit the reef so hard that a massive 80-ton boulder was lodged into the side of the ship.
Oh.
Where it remained until it would later be removed, years on and made into a memorial.
Oh.
The dragging impact.
I know Roscoe's like doing a little dance right on the creaky part. And it's making me laugh.
Roscoe's doing a doggy tap dance.
I've never seen him do that. He was just like twirling.
Oh, is he spinning?
Yeah, he was kind of just like.
Sometimes he has to spin to find his spot.
Yeah,
Roscoe,
like a cat kind of spin,
lay down.
Trying to settle.
You are not good for audio. Come on. There he goes again, doing his turns. And,
I swear.
And we're down. Okay. Okay. The dragging impact resounded through the ship, knocking passengers about and sending violent vibrations through the ship. Ugh. Many passengers recalled the horrible sound of ripping metal as the ship dragged alongside the reef.
Oh, that would be so loud, like metallic. Ugh. Yeah.
One passenger recalled that the sound was eerily similar to the sound made when the ship hit the iceberg in the movie The Titanic. Mm-hmm. They're like, I've
seen this movie.
Yeah, they're like, that sound. It was like that. So it was pretty accurate in the movie.
Wow.
Back on the bridge, immediately after the ship had struck the rocks, Captain Schettino ordered the crew to close the watertight doors in the bow. In the recording, you can hear the alarms blaring on the bridge as Schettino desperately tries to get a handle on the situation. He is still barking frantic orders to steer the ship away, but the gash on the side of the ship included the engine rooms, which quickly became flooded. Ooh. Mere moments after striking the rock, the engine rooms flooded and the ship lost power.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrifying. You're immediately no power.
It's so bad. It's just immediately so bad.
That would be so dark and you're in a crowded boat.
Yeah, imagine if you're in the interior rooms with no windows, like how dark it would suddenly be.
Gosh.
I mean, I guess it's night, so it'd be
and
dark
you're like trying
anywhere,
you're feeling like the vibrations of it hitting and like just like, oh my gosh, no.
Instantly
thank you.
Terrified. On the recordings, the captain is heard asking, "So are we really going down? I don't understand."
Oh my God.
Hilariously, there's an officer in the background who says, "Our ass is dragging along the seabed." And another officer says, "It's the salute he wanted."
Oh, spicy. That's some sass.
Oh, so sass.
Wow.
So you can kind of tell that he doesn't maybe have the most respect amongst his peers. Mm-hmm. Quickly after this exchange, the captain can be heard calling his lead crisis manager, saying, "Roberto, I fucked up. Look, I'm dying here. Don't tell me anything."
Oh my God.
So he calls this guy before anyone else. Like he's calling his the cost. He works for Costa basically. He's like a higher up with Costa, not the Coast Guard, not anyone to save the ship. He's
anything
calling
emergency.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a quick damage assessment was done, and it was found that 5 compartments, including the engine room, were flooded, and the ship was now without power and without steering. So the rudder was controlled by the end, whatever. So they don't have a rudder either to steer the ship.
Is it still moving?
There is forward momentum from when.
Sure, because it's such a big.
Yeah. So yeah, it's still
ship.
moving, but they have no ability to maneuver it.
Turn. Okay. Yeah.
So with the rudder out of commission, the captain did his best to use the forward momentum of the ship to place it in a more favorable position. Mm-hmm. Although experts would later say that without power and control of the rudder, Scatino had nothing to do with where the ship ended up and was simply trying to take credit for placing the ship in a safer spot than steering it out to sea, in deeper waters where it would have sunk. So he's later on, he's like, but
it could have been worse.
Yeah, look what I did to help. And they're like, it was literally that would have happened with or without you.
How about not having this happen at all in the first place?
Go back in time, tell yourselves to stop sucking so hard, Scatino. So the Costa Concordia ended up turning back towards the island, which was good from a rescue standpoint, but also resulted in the ship listing hard to starboard. So it's basically parallel with the shore, and so the waves and everything is pushing it over sideways towards.
Okay, so the momentum of the waves of the shore, because they're on shore, is slowly tilting this boat on its side.
Yes,
that is what listing means. That is what I remember finding out.
Yes, that is what listing means.
Yes,
yeah.
Which having that happen slowly too, eerie, and I don't like it because you're just kind of feeling everything move and shift at the same time.
Yeah, I mean you can see. I mean, not to talk about the Titanic again, but when it listed hard, everyone starts sliding down.
Yeah,
the deck. So it's just a bad. You don't want it to list.
The other way of the Titanic was what? How do you describe it?
I guess it wasn't tipping to its side, was it? It was tipping. Well, it broke, so it was tipping.
Well, it broke. Yeah.
Oh no, I guess it did.
You know what I'm trying to say?
It did tip. I think it did tip sideways a little bit initially until it broke because the gas
You're
was
probably
on
right.
one side.
Yeah.
Anyway, go back to our other Titanic episodes to find out more that we've already forgotten about. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so yes, it's listing hard to starboard, and that's where you get those iconic photos of the massive ship so close to land. If you look at the pictures, it's just crazy.
It is wild.
And it's leaning pretty far over in the water. In the end, the ship listed around 70 degrees, which is pretty nearly all the way on its side.
Yeah, it's really crazy to see back on it.
Just a fun fact, it was reported widely, and I don't know if this is true, but it was in a lot of different sources, that when the ship struck the rocks, Celine Dion's song, My Heart Will Go On, was playing in one of the restaurants.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Let's say that happened.
I know. I want it to be real.
And this happened, in what year?
2012.
And wasn't it 1912 that the Titanic happened?
Ooh, are you right? Ew.
Or, yeah, I think I am right because I think I'm a Titanic genius a little bit. But that's eerie. I think this is happening again.
Is that true? 2012? That sounds right.
April 1912.
April. This is Titanic in just a different form. This is so crazy.
A century later. Wow. And a Titanic descendant was on the boat.
Wow. While Celine is blaring her voice. Also, good for her with the Olympics coming back and being her best self right now.
Stiff person
going
syndrome
through everything
wherever she has.
She's going through so much. Oh my gosh. I'm rooting for her.
I know. She's an icon. We love her.
Love Celine Dion.
Have you actually seen her in interviews and stuff? She's actually kind of batshit in a fun way.
In a fun way.
She's kind of really off the wall. Okay. So I don't know how true that is. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. There was a couple Swiss passengers, I think, that were the ones reporting that song was playing, but
we're going to believe.
We're going to believe. Okay. Anyway, after the initial impact, depending on where you were on the ship, the situation seemed more or less dire. For some, the impact was loud and jarring, making it pretty obvious that something catastrophic had just happened. In other areas of the ship, the impact was less noticeable, but the sudden swerve of the ship, followed by the list, couldn't be ignored by anyone.
Yeah.
Quickly, furniture and people began falling and sliding down the tilted floors, injuring themselves with cuts, bruises, and in some cases, broken teeth.
Oh my! Oh no!
I know. When the ship lost power, it became evident to everyone on board that something was seriously wrong. And remember, like I said before, this is all happening at night, so it's very dark inside the ship.
Oh, those poor people.
Yeah, it seemed like there might have been some auxiliary powers. Maybe it seemed like there was lights coming in and out. So I don't think the lights were completely off the whole time, but still, that's almost more terrifying to have lights sometimes than to have it go out.
Yeah.
Okay, so much like the Titanic, passengers were quickly told that the situation was under control and that they should put their life vests on.
Everything's under control as we're turning on its side.
I know. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Put on your life jacket just for fun. Not that you'll need it. And go to your muster station just for fun.
Again, very downplay. I don't understand.
I guess not to incite panic, but like...
Sure, okay, yeah, but also...
But it obviously didn't work out well for the Titanic. It's not going to work out well for this. Just spoiler. So stop pretending like everything is... At least be more honest in a calm way.
I'm tired of the gaslighting, and I'm tired of being told lies.
Like, you don't have to like run around in a circle screaming, but you could be like, hey,
yeah,
things are going down.
We're aware of the situation, and it's not looking good, so put this on.
Yeah.
Like, hello, just be honest.
Just be real. Like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, they're downplaying it. Not shocking, but not great. Per the captain's orders, announcements were made over the intercoms that the ship was experiencing an electrical problem and would be resolved soon.
Yeah, because it turning on its side is just an electrical problem.
It's the electricity, you stupid passengers. You don't know how it works. It's so fine.
Gravity doesn't. You don't know what's happening. It's fine.
Okay, so if you're wondering how the fuck anyone would believe that the ship is, while the ship is literally tilting, you'd be right, because nobody was buying it. Captain Scatino, however, would continue to minimize the situation to an infuriating degree.
This is probably the most infuriating part.
It really is. He's just, he is as bad as everyone says he is, which doesn't happen often, but it's true for this guy. He knew exactly the level of deep shit they were in after being informed of the damage and knowing that they didn't have engine power. But, he couldn't hide the truth very long because the ship was so close to land. So
literally everyone's watching this.
Yeah. And passengers they're so close to land that they were using their cell phones to call the authorities and family members on land.
Oh, like they were so close to land that they were able to get service?
Yeah.
Oh, do you not get... Wait. Never mind. I don't know how technology works, but whoa.
Yeah. So they're like calling people. They're calling the authorities.
Seems weird.
They're like, people are saying it's fine, but I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not believing any of the bullshit they're being fed, which is good. About 30 minutes after the collision, Captain Scatino received a call from the Italian Coast Guard at 10:15 after they had received a call from a family member of one of the people on board. Again, even though Scatino knew that they were taking on a devastating amount of water and had lost power, he told the Coast Guard that they were just experiencing a blackout. So he lied.
Like, dude, people have eyeballs. It's not just the ship is on its.
It's such an embarrassing lie to tell.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. It's like a toddler that like messes up and then just like they break something and then just sit on it to hide it. Like everyone knows. We all know what's going on. You can't like
it's so delusional. Delulu. I heard that recently too. It's just to commit to that bit when like literally everyone has eyeballs.
And I can like look at it from land and be like,
you're just making yourself look like an actual crazy person.
Yeah, like a liar and a coward.
Biggest.
So the Coast Guard was like, okay, do you need assistance or do you plan on staying near the island? Was it just the generator? The person that called us said that everything fell on his head during dinner.
Electrical blackout doesn't do that.
The captain was like, no, yeah, we're just going to stay near the island, as if they had a choice. And, we're working to confirm the situation with the blackout.
Oh my God.
He didn't ask for assistance from the Coast Guard and eventually hung up.
It's amazing that he actually refused assistance.
I just wonder what was going through his head. Like, how did he think that he could weasel his way out of this situation?
Like, how do you not think about anyone else? That's like your oath as captain. Like,
yeah, I feel like he was trying to buy time because he thought maybe
he can fix it? How? Like, what? Yeah, there's no logic. Like, why are you just digging yourself into this hole? I don't understand.
I mean, I've never made a fuck up to this degree, so I have nothing to compare it to. But
I think maybe he's just like in shock and shutting down, and he just can't do the right thing. I don't know,
which is worrying for a sea captain. But
yep, it is.
It's not really a trait you want to have. As
he's definitely caring about himself over the passengers,
over the
literally refusing help. Like, I just don't understand that part.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Also, I don't mean to be defensive if I say crazy person. Just had to put that out there.
Oh,
I was overthinking it. I'm sorry.
Intrusive thoughts. All right. So meanwhile, chaos is happening everywhere. Guests are being told it's just an electrical problem. Everything's under control. But, put your life vest on, go to the muster station. The floor is tilting. And there was other cases where guests were told by crew members to go back to their cabins.
Oh, God, I don't understand.
To add to the chaos, there was a large number of guests on board who had not yet completed the evacuation drills. So I can only imagine the panic because
they didn't even learn what to do.
Right. So there was like a rule at that point where I think with this ship, like they were picking up people along the way. So like there had been people on this cruise ship longer than, just that day.
Sure.
So they probably went through the safety training. I think there was like, you had to do it within 24 hours of getting on the ship.
I see.
So these people had only been on the ship.
They just got off.
Yeah.
Oh my
this
God.
is happening. So a lot of them didn't even know where to go, what to do.
They're not even familiar with the ship. They just got on. So they don't even know where's what, like the basic where's what.
They've been there for like a handful of hours.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Can you imagine like just you're not even there for like 24 hours
that's
and this
scary.
happens. Oh, that's so awful. Okay. And yeah, so obviously like the sheer size of the ship, it's bigger than like a shopping mall. It's full of thousands of people. Like they're all clamoring to get to safety. So the chaos was probably just insane.
The crowds, like, being stuck behind a crowd or something.
I mean, that part makes me claustrophobic. Like being in a big
as
shoving
it's tilting
crowd.
And like everything's just the furniture sliding and like things are everywhere on the floor.
Yeah, it's
debris
bad.
everywhere. Okay.
About 10 minutes after the first phone call from the Coast Guard, they call the captain again. And this time, he admits they're in like a little bit of trouble. But he only requests a tugboat.
What?
Like a tugboat.
Okay, I'm gonna get help, but like give me like just a paper boat, please.
We just need like a paper boat.
I don't know.
We just need like a little pole out of this.
Oh, the idea is to pull the ship out, or
I don't know. I really don't know
what about all of these thousands of people? Okay,
like,
anyway.
Yeah, one tugboat's gonna fix. It's gonna fix everything. Just send them. So that's obviously gonna do fuck all for their situation. And it's truly baffling how long he tries to deceive the authorities.
That's so baffling.
So, okay. As crucial minutes tick by, passengers were receiving mixed directions from announcements and crew members. One person would tell them to go to their muster station. Another would tell them to go back to their cabin, which makes sense because many of the crew members weren't even aware of the massive hole in the ship. So, like, even the crew doesn't exactly know what's going on because the captain isn't relaying orders like he should be.
I just feel like a lot of people really do default to like listening to authorities. So if like
Of
somebody
course.
on the ship is telling you to do like go back to your cabin, I feel like a lot of people would just naturally want to listen to them.
Yeah.
Which is not their fault at all, but it's also just makes me really sad. Like what if they I don't like it.
And there was also language barriers happening because there's, so many different people like from all over. So of course, like not every language is going to be spoken.
Gosh, that would be scary too. Like what if you get help, but then you can't understand each other?
It just adds to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there were some passengers who, they clearly saw the writing on the wall and they demanded to begin loading the lifeboats, but they were denied until orders had been given to do so. Fortunately, there were crew members who decided to just go ahead and start launching lifeboats without the order.
Good.
Which was technically considered mutiny, but at that point, who cares?
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, handcuff me. I don't care.
Yeah.
This is clear.
I guess there is an audio recording of like on the bridge, and it came out in court, and like one of the officers was like, hey, like people are getting into lifeboats, and the captain was basically like, whatever.
Wow, what a dude.
I know.
You caused this. Okay, he's so infuriating.
He makes you rage. It's so people are getting loaded, but unfortunately many crew members were untrained in manning or lowering the lifeboats, which only resulted in more confusion and chaos.
That sucks.
I think there was one story where like there was a former military guy, maybe he was like in the Navy or in the service, but he like literally had to shove an employee out of the way so that he could lower the boat.
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't know what they were doing.
Wow.
It would take around an hour after the crash for Captain Scatino to finally issue the abandoned ship order.
An hour after the crash.
Yeah. But because he waited so long, the ship had begun to list so severely that launching lifeboats became impossible.
What an idiot.
For like, I think a lot did get launched eventually, but like,
You're losing
it's
a
like
lot
the
of
Titanic.
potential,
When
yeah.
it's tilting,
You can't do some of it.
the boat's just going to hit the side of the ship.
And
And then if it tilts far enough in the
then
other
you're gonna just
direction, it's
drop, yeah.
underwater.
Yeah, there's a whole side of ships that you can't use.
Yeah.
Or boats, I should say. Oh my gosh, that's infuriating.
Okay. So for the lifeboats that were launching, the area became chaos. This is just like I need to stop
really
saying
is.
it, but it really is the same. The area became chaos as the passengers rushed and pushed each other to get on board, including crew members. People began to shout, "Women and children first." Many of the men followed this order and were separated from their families,
Oh my god.
hoping to ensure safety for their loved ones.
Wow.
Allegedly, the captain's mistress was one of the first people off the ship after he told her to gather her belongings and save herself early on in the catastrophe.
Wow.
Then,
Priorities, man.
No.
Priorities.
I bet she didn't talk to him after this, though.
So embarrassing for you.
Yeah. Oh, I bet she dumped him so fast. Then one of the... So this is also right out of the Titanic, but one of the lifeboats that had about 100 people loaded in it was struggling to descend to the water as they were on the uphill side of the ship. Crew members were trying to push the lifeboat away from the ship with a long pole, but this caused the lifeboat to suddenly drop, and everyone felt their bodies go airborne as they fell several feet before catching on the rope and slamming back down into the seats.
That's so scary.
It's on video.
No.
Yeah, or at least audio. I listened to it. You can just hear everyone start to scream.
Oh
like,
my god, eerie.
it's so terrifying.
That's so scary.
The crew members decided it was too dangerous to keep lowering the lifeboat, so they pulled it back up, and everyone was forced to go back on the cruise ship.
Oh my gosh, that's so upsetting.
As more and more lifeboats filled and launched, people were becoming more desperate, fighting for spots on the boats. Some even jumped into them as they were launched, or jumped into the water to make a swim for it.
Yeah.
Which I can't blame them. They can literally see land.
Yeah, like it's actually probably swimmable.
Yeah, that's
distance.
one of the wild things about this is like it can't even fully sink because they're that close to land, and people do die trying to swim like 1,000 feet. Like,
Yeah.
it's so sad. I mean, I would be tempted if I couldn't get a spot. Like, oh, that's not that far, right? Like, I can make
sure.
it.
I can totally see the logic, and it's just so upsetting.
By now, rescue ships had begun to arrive and pick up passengers. The ship was listing so badly by that point that passengers had to throw a rope ladder over the side to try and climb down to the awaiting rescuers.
Oof.
Navigating the cruise ship became incredibly treacherous as the floor was so tilted it was almost a wall at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Passengers recalled the eerie sounds of groaning metal as the cruise ship ran aground and the winds pushed the ship further onto its side.
Oh my gosh, all the sounds still. It's just nature doing its thing. Like,
yeah. Like
just the
furniture slamming, glass breaking. Like, I'm sure there'd be
Still
so much going on.
Yeah, so much noise.
Rescue boats, merchant vessels, and rescue helicopters began arriving on the scene to rescue people from the cruise ship who were unable to make it into a lifeboat. This was good as most of the crew members and captain were nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
By 11:30, there were still roughly 300 people on the cruise ship, largely abandoned by those hired to staff it. In an excuse, this has got to be one of my favorite parts. So in an excuse so outlandish, it boggles the mind.
Oh my God. Or another one?
Captain Scatino said he had tripped and fell into a lifeboat, which is why he wasn't on board to help the remaining passengers.
Oh, I just slipped on a banana and got into a lifeboat.
Whoops!
Wow.
I found myself in a lifeboat that I couldn't possibly get out of now.
Yeah, I was in it, so I mean, too late there.
Well, here I am. Guess I'm going to hang out with you guys.
Just gonna continue the ride over to shore.
He's like, I'm the captain of this lifeboat. So, yeah, that's he couldn't even, like, that's the worst excuse. Like, you couldn't even come up with a better excuse as to why, like,
I mean,
what are you going to say? I guess?
honestly, what other excuse
I don't know.
except for the truth, man. Yeah, that's bad. I know that's very disgraceful. Leaving the ship, captain leaving the ship.
You're the captain. You're literally supposed to go down with the ship. This ship was
Literally supposed to be the last one.
Last one.
The very last one.
Yeah, it's bad. What's even worse is that there's video evidence of the captain waiting patiently on the side of the ship to board a lifeboat.
I do remember that. He's like on a side door.
He's just like waiting.
He's just like la la la. I'm just watching, waiting.
Just getting ready to trip into this lifeboat. So he's a piece of shit.
Wow.
While on the lifeboat, Scatino received a call from a captain in the Italian Coast Guard, who is my hero. His name is Captain Gregorio DeFalco.
Okay.
And now we will present to you
Yes.
a dramatic reading of this phone call performed by Michael and myself.
This is genius because I do remember listening to this and I love this phone call.
And before we do that, we're just going to take a quick break.
All right.
Welcome back.
Yep. So lame. I don't know what to say.
Yep. All right. So Michael and I are going to read the transcript of this phone
yes,
call.
that's right. I'm very excited for this.
Yes. So I will be reading for Captain DeFalco, and Michael will be reading for Captain Scatino.
Captain Coward.
Got it.
Yes, Captain Coward.
That was one of the nicknames they actually gave him in the tabloids afterwards.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to
yep.
say that later, so you once again
I
spoiled
keep
something.
doing this.
Again, Michael.
Okay, well, the
Yikes.
other one's Captain Calamity. Just in case you were going to say that one,
I wasn't going to say that. What was it?
Captain Calamity.
Oh, I think I might like that
Calamity.
better.
Ooh.
Okay, so here we go. I'm DeFalco. This is DeFalco speaking from Livorno. Am I speaking with the commander?
Yes, good evening, Commander DeFalco.
Please tell me your name.
I'm Commander Scatino, Commander.
Scatino. Listen, Scatino. There are people trapped on board. Now, you go with your boat under the prow on the starboard side. There is a pilot ladder. You will climb that ladder and go on board. You go on board, and then you will tell me how many people are there. Is that clear? I'm recording this conversation, Commander Scatino.
Commander, let me tell you one thing.
Speak up. Put your hand in front of the microphone and speak more loudly. Is that clear?
In this moment, the boat is tipping.
I understand that. Listen, there are people that are coming down the pilot ladder of the prow. You go up that pilot ladder, get on that ship, and tell me how many people are still on board and what they need. Is that clear? You need to tell me if there are children, women, or people in need of assistance, and tell me the exact number of each of these categories. Is that clear? Listen, Scatino, that you saved yourself from the sea, but I'm going to do something bad to you. I'm going to make you pay for this. Get back on board, damn it.
Commander, please.
No, please. You now get back. Sorry. Let's do it again. No, please. You now get up and go on board. They are telling me that on board there are still...
I'm here with the rescue boats. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here.
What are you doing, Commander?
I'm here to coordinate the rescue.
What are you coordinating there? Go on board. Coordinate the rescue from aboard the ship. Are you refusing?
No, I'm not refusing.
Are you refusing to go aboard, Commander? Can you tell me the reason why you are not going?
I'm not going because the other lifeboat is stopped.
You go on board. It's an order. Don't make any more excuses. You You have declared abandoned ship. Now I am in charge. You go on board. Is that clear? Do you hear me? Go and call me when you are on board. My rescue air crew is there.
Where are your rescuers?
My air rescue is on the prow. Go. There are already bodies, Scatino.
How many bodies are there?
I don't know. I have heard of one. You are the one who has to tell me how many there are. Christ.
But do you realize it's dark and here we can't see anything?
And so what? You want to go home, Scatino? It is dark and you want to go home? Get on that prow of the boat using the pilot ladder and tell me what can be done and how many people there are and what their needs are. Now.
I'm with my second in command.
So both of you go up then. You and your second go on board. Is that clear?
Commander, I want to go on board, but it's simply that the other boat here, there are other rescuers. It has stopped and it's waiting.
It has been an hour that you have been telling me the same thing. Now go on board. Go on board. And then tell me immediately how many people there are there.
Okay, Commander.
Go immediately. End scene.
Oh my god.
He is such a little turd.
What? Yeah, massive turd.
I mean, it just sounds like a parent to a teenager. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Like, just the beyond. It's just so beyond.
I can't imagine the fury of that man.
I love that he just went in and twisted, and I was just like eating it up.
I know, he's like, you might have saved yourself from the sea, but I'm gonna make you pay. Oh, little fucker.
Why is that so glorious to hear?
It's so good.
Wow.
Okay, so despite the rousing call to action, Scatino refused to return to the ship and instead returned to land like the coward he was.
Wow.
And
after all of that.
I know, after that dressing down, he still was like, nah.
That's just, oh my gosh, I just want to shake him.
I know. And the fact that all of his top brass officers are in the boat with him.
Yeah, everyone just left, dude.
Like, there was people who stayed behind that were like waiters, like low-level people are the ones trying to save people on the ship, and the captain and all of like the top people left in a lifeboat.
Boggling. It really is boggling.
Yeah, it's so shameful. It's so shameful.
It really is.
So in the aftermath of this event, I mean, obviously this audio gets leaked, and Captain DeFalco became an instant sensation.
As he shall.
I know. So the phrase "get back on board, damn it," was also translated as "get the fuck back on board" and "get back on board for fuck's sake."
All of it is great.
I know.
Actually, definitely love a fuck word in there.
I'm a fan of the fuck's sake version of it.
Yes, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too.
I mean, it became such a thing that people got it on t-shirts. Like
I honestly probably would have bought one.
For fuck's sake. Oh, it's great.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. So Captain Scatino was also granted the name Captain Coward after this. Later, the captain claimed he asked the people in the lifeboat to turn back, but, he was told no.
Oh, so helpless he was.
They just wouldn't do it. However, there were reports from land officials who offered to take the captain back to the ship in a boat, but he refused. He reportedly didn't even get his shoes wet during the whole ordeal.
Why is that detail so extra offensive?
Disgusting. I don't know. It's just like, I'm imagining his stupid shiny shoes, and I'm just like, ugh.
Ew. Like he just still looks clean cut, and you don't deserve to be.
Slippery and slimy. He just seems like, if you look at pictures of him, you're just like, oh yeah, he's skeezy.
Skeezy.
Okay, so to add to the captain's shame, even the deputy mayor of the island had shown up to help and had gone to the listing cruise ship to help people off.
Wow, so the mayor of the island was like, I'm going to
Steps up.
Wow.
Yeah. By almost 1 a.m., 23 of the 26 lifeboats had launched. The others couldn't be launched. They were either inoperable or underwater. The 23 boats, I think, should have been enough to fit all of the passengers, but the loading of the lifeboats had been so disorganized that by the time they were all gone, hundreds of people were still on the ship. At least one lifeboat ended up dropping off passengers and turning back to pick up more people, along with several Coast Guard ships and helicopters.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But as I said before, the list of the ship was now so steep that the floor had basically become the wall.
Right.
And people were having to crawl along the exposed hole, so the side of the ship, to get to safety. There were a few brave crew members who stayed behind to help, including the ship's priest, an officer, and the ship's doctor, who remained until the rescue operation was temporarily stopped at around 5 a.m.
Wow, 5 a.m.
Yeah. Back on land, the tiny island with a population of about 1,000 people suddenly needed a place to to house all of these stranded cruise guests who were outnumber them almost 4 to 1.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. This island so tiny, that
tiny.
The cruise ship has double the people,
more than double.
So
where do they go? So hotels open their doors, with beds, food, water. A nun opened up her convent to house a lot of people, and then just regular citizens let people stay in their houses, which is just very cool of them.
Very cool.
The next day, the rescue operation resumed, and a dive team was sent inside the ship to search for people who had become trapped inside.
No.
The conditions were treacherous, with floating debris and furniture, not to mention how dark it was, and visibility was extremely low. 3 more people would be rescued that day, including a Korean newlywed couple who had somehow slept through the initial wreck and had woken to find that they couldn't open the door to their cabin.
What? How do you sleep through? How does their bed... How do they not fall out of the bed?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
So many questions.
But, can you imagine waking up to that kind of you could probably hear what's going on, but you can't open the door to your cabin.
Oh, I don't like that.
And then the ship is listing.
How jarring.
And then it probably gets eerily silent after everyone leaves.
Ooh. Yeah, just waking up after. What? Nope.
And you're like, what's happening? And that would be terrifying. And it's their honeymoon. Oof.
Oh, yeah.
They need a do-over. There was also another person who was rescued, an employee who had broken their leg. Mm-hmm. In the following days, rescue operations were hampered by dangerous weather conditions, causing the ship to shift on the rocks. No more people would be found alive, and the mission switched to body recovery. Several former crew members and passengers were found inside the submerged section of the ship and on the seabed. Because of the treacherous conditions of the search effort, the task eventually went to robotic equipment to search for the remaining 2 bodies, a female passenger and a male crew member, which wouldn't be found until September 2013 and August 2014.
Wow.
The final victim found, Russell Rebello, was not recovered until the ship was uprighted and removed for salvage. Oof. And I'll talk about that more in a minute.
Yeah.
Russell was a waiter who lost his life after giving his life jacket to a passenger and had been attempting to get passengers out of the ship when he was trapped and subsequently drowned. It's really sad. In total, 32 people lost their lives in the disaster.
Wow.
27 passengers and 5 crew members, with almost half drowning as they became trapped inside, trying to cross through the ship to reach lifeboats on the other side. 2 victims of this scenario were a dad and his 5-year-old daughter. I think she was the youngest victim. With the dramatic list of the ship, the connecting corridors essentially became long, deep holes to fall into. If you think about a hallway running through and then the ship tips on its side, that's not a hallway anymore. It's a hole.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine falling? Oh, that's so scary. So people... they went through these corridors and then they got trapped with the rising water and drowned. Ugh. 13 deceased people were also found. Ooh, this is my nightmare. Trapped inside of elevators.
Oh, yeah.
Some drowned trying to swim to shore. Others drowned after they became trapped in just other sections of the ship. There were also several stories of the crew members who stayed behind to help, who lost their lives. Some gave up their life jackets to help passengers. Others gave up their seats on lifeboats. And of course, all of these deaths were arguably extremely preventable and just really
100%.
tragic.
Actually, I would actually argue 100% preventable.
I just don't know how you live with yourself, as a captain, knowing you got off on a lifeboat and people on your crew gave up their literal life jackets and died saving people.
Yeah.
It's just, it's unreal. Okay, so 157 people were injured during the disaster, with more than 20 requiring hospitalization.
Yeah, that broken leg. Oh, can you imagine? Like, you're now like kind of immobile.
Yeah, and you're trapped inside of a ship that could or could not just be sinking.
And you can't move. Oh my gosh.
After the recovery of most of the victims within the ship, the next pressing matter was the looming environmental disaster of the ship itself. As luck would have it, the ship rammed into an area that was a protected wildlife sanctuary, because of course, just add murdering the environment to the list. And to make matters more intense, bad weather and rough waters continued to shift the cruise ship, and it was feared that the ship could dislodge and sink to deeper waters where it would like fully sink.
Yeah, that's so wild to think that Mother Ocean is still, just tossing the ship around.
It's such a big ship. It's crazy. The nearly full fuel tanks were of the deepest concern, and defueling the ship became a top priority.
Oh my gosh, yes.
By March, most of the fuel had been removed, and the next monumental task would be to seal up the ship and attempt to refloat it with enormous buoys so that it could be taken to a port where it would be salvaged for materials.
This part is actually, I find interesting too. Like, I like seeing like the pictures and the graphs of it because it's like so sciencey, and I don't know why. I just
it's fascinating. I also
like how do you fix this massive ship?
It's honestly so impressive what they come up with and what they accomplish. Like,
it's really cool.
It is really cool. It honestly went off better, as good as it could have, I think. Well, not all the way. I'll talk about it. So this would be one of the largest operations ever undertaken of its kind, and the steps to complete the task were as follows, per Wikipedia. So first, secure the hull to the land using steel cables and stop it from falling deeper. Build a horizontal underwater platform below the ship.
Wild.
Then, I know, just that part. Attach, let's see, I don't know what this word is, sponsons. I'm guessing like some kind of cable to the port side of the hull. Bring the hull to vertical by winching or parbuckling the hull onto the platform. Attach sponsons to the... Can you look up what sponson is?
On it. Projections extending from the sides of land vehicles, aircraft, or watercraft provides protection, stability, storage locations, mounting points for weapons or other devices, or equipment housing.
So am I right that it's basically cables?
Yeah, it's a spot to like connect cables.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so attach sponsons to the starboard side of the hull, refloat the hull and tanks, no big deal. Recovery tow to an Italian port. So basically, they build this platform, they somehow tip the ship onto it. After sealing it all up, they have these huge buoys that refloat it, and then they are able to tow it to a port. And they do this.
Yeah, they do. That's
It's
crazy.
Against all odds, like, because they said, like, it got really dicey because when they started to pull it, they realized that it had been there so long, I mean, years at this point, that like it attached itself to the coral.
The coral.
Or I guess the coral attached itself to the boat.
Right. Okay, true. And obviously it wasn't there for a few years. How long was it there for?
I don't think they pulled it until like 2014.
Okay, so like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but it's also just like so weird to think about that it had to stay that way for so long.
People are just living on this island, like walking past this.
Yeah. I remember when this happened. I remember like news clips, like watching live on the news of people going like, it's such an unsightly
that's what they would say.
Like we're at the beach and it's just there and
it became like a tourist attraction.
I can see that happening. Yeah. But like obviously the locals hated it, and obviously you don't want to see a boat tipped over. It's eerie.
Yeah. And it's like disrupting their fishing. It's like ruining their environment.
It is. Yeah. I never thought about the whole coral thing.
Yeah.
I would just think it would kind of like disintegrate.
No, the coral like was like, you're mine now.
Oh no.
Yeah. And it was also in like a wildlife protected area too. So you're also just like ruining the habitat for these poor animals.
What an ass. Like, what a massive dick. This guy really did ruin all aspects of a lot of things.
So many things. So many. Yeah. So in the end, against incredible odds, the venture was successful, but ended up costing $1.2 billion with
Wow.
a B.
Wow.
And the
That thing's
operation
huge.
would claim one more life, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A Spanish diver cut his leg on some sheet metal. And he was able to swim back to the surface, but he later died of his injuries.
Oh, that's sad.
I know, it's really sad. I mean, that was a really dangerous job, what they were doing.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
It's the video footage.
Terrifying
it's
to have to do that.
It's so eerie, but it's also so cool. Like,
Yeah.
swimming through this abandoned cruise ship underwater. It's wild.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I guess there's actually a really good PBS documentary I want to watch on the salvage operation. So
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I wanna check
Specifically on that. Yeah.
I think it's a Nova documentary. I think there's there's probably
Yeah.
several.
Sure.
Also fascinating to me was the amount of looting that happened between the crash and the salvage.
Like people wanting to go actually take parts of the ship.
Yeah, there was people trying to loot.
I mean, yeah, it's so close.
It's so close. And just imagine, like, there's so much stuff on board. I mean, they stole jewelry, they stole cash.
Oh my gosh, there's everything
People
on board.
left everything behind.
So, whoa.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of don't blame that idea.
I know. I mean, it got shut down obviously pretty fast.
Sure.
Because we're in modern times, so they can install like cameras and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But so things did get stolen. Where did I put it? Okay, the craziest thing that they stole, which I don't know how they did this, but somebody stole the ship's giant brass bell with the ship's name and launch date engraved on it. How do you steal a bell? How do you sneak away a bell? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I am assuming it's pretty big.
Big and heavy.
Wow.
I don't know how they did that, but it's gone. So, as you could probably guess, the legal ramifications of a disaster like this
Oh my God.
were vast.
So messy.
The Costa Cruises company offered the uninjured victims 11,000 euros, which is about $14,400.
Sure.
And reimbursements for any expenses related to their ordeal, including travel, medical bills. They also offered counseling services.
Good.
And would try to return valuables kept in room safes if they could. But if the victims took the compensation package, they weren't allowed to sue.
Ooh.
And if you think about it, that's not a lot of money.
Right.
Costa didn't give a sum for the people who had lost, their lives or family members, or the ones who had been injured. They said that they would pay those out case by case, depending on what the situation was. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know how much those people got paid, but assumedly more.
Yeah.
Probably,
a lot more, I would hope. But
you would hope, but it's like, what amount of money?
yeah, how do you
Fixes
measure
it? Yeah.
How do you measure that?
Not everyone took the money, though, and plenty of them sued Costa. Even after Costa offered no penalties, if people wanted to cancel their future cruises with them, most people still chose to go on Costa Cruises, and their sales only dropped like 10%.
Oh, only 10% after that fiasco?
Yeah, and that wasn't even their first. I think later on, like maybe even not long after this, there was another issue with the Costa cruise ship, but they're still alive to this day, doing well.
Dang.
Doing cruises.
Not even a little dent.
I know. You would think that they would just
At
tank.
least suffer a little bit.
At least for a short time.
Yeah.
But nope, people still want their cruises. And as for Captain Slimeball, he was quickly put on house arrest on charges of manslaughter, abandoning ship, and shipwreck, which was not a thing I knew you could be charged with. But I guess shipwreck is a crime. The trial was a media circus, and it was held in this giant space so that lots of people could come and watch.
Oh, I bet it was like the hot thing to go see and watch.
It was the thing to go to, and they just, people were
Eating it
there
up.
for it. They wanted to see Scatino get ripped a new asshole. They hated him.
Yep.
It's not hard to see why. He was widely vilified and given the name Captain Coward, Captain Calamity, like Michael said. So he had to have known that he wasn't going to get like a plea deal. 5 other employees, including the helmsman and the Costa crisis coordinator that Scatino had called, before anyone else, they all were charged with manslaughter, but they all pled guilty. basically a plea deal, and they were only given a couple-year sentences, and their sentences were suspended. So I don't think any of them did
Really
jail
did-
time.
Okay. Wow.
Costa Cruises also got out of any legal trouble by agreeing to pay a €1 million fine, which is, it's just
that
like always,
doesn't seem right.
it's always the rich assholes. They can just pay their way out of
Literally,
trouble.
and I honestly doesn't even seem like high enough
no,
to
$1 million
to get out of that. $1 million, like, come on. Oh my gosh, it's infuriating.
It's disappointing for sure. So they pay their $1 million or €1 million fine, and they don't get in legal trouble. They basically just shove Scatino forward for sacrifice.
Sure.
So there was so much damning evidence against him with all the audio recording, cell phone footage, recorded phone calls,
Beyond.
witness testimony. His mistress, Dominica, also testified to being a non-paying guest who was on the bridge when she shouldn't have been. Scatino was also accused of slowing down the ship to have a romantic dinner with her and then speeding it up to make up time
Oh my god.
and do the sail by, adding to the catastrophic failure.
For real?
I should have looked it up if that was actually found to be true, but that's
so.
one of the things levied against him. It wouldn't
my
shock me
No,
if
I mean,
it was
but
true.
just the calculation.
I mean, yeah. So in the end, Scatino was found guilty, obviously,
Good.
and sentenced to 16 years in prison. He has since appealed, but the ruling was upheld, and he is still serving his sentence. He gave a half-assed apology and continued to minimize his role in the disaster. So he just sucks. He really does. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't really seem to be... It's just so wild if you listen to his... or, like, read his apologies. They're just, like... He minimizes his role so much. You're like, do you even get it? Like,
do you know what captain means?
like, do you know what you did? Like, you clearly don't seem to have... Like the
any
impact.
remorse?
Or, yeah, it's just... It's weird. Like...
it's
I don't
cold.
know. It's very, yeah. It's just like, are you just dissociating like from the situation you're in? Anyway, so he's still serving his sentence. Hopefully we'll serve the whole thing. 16 years doesn't
seem like enough either.
I don't know. Costa Cruises was also forced to make a lot of changes, like no more sail bys, better trainings, and the requirement that safety drills be done, with passengers right away.
Makes sense.
In the end, the final tally for Costa came to about $2 billion, and that doesn't even include buying a new ship to replace the Concordia.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm just really sad for everyone who lost their lives. It was just the most pointless disaster.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Oh. When is he supposed to get out? Do we know what year?
Oh, I don't. Michael, you should look that up.
But good job. I'm glad you did that.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely very interesting to research.
Well done. Yeah.
Sentenced to 16 years in 2015 after a 19-month trial.
So 31.
Yeah.
2031.
Less than 10 years from now.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no way he can still work as a captain, right? Like,
no, they must have pulled his license,
has to
right?
be
Like,
done, right?
You don't get to do that anymore.
go cook in the kitchen.
Like, you shouldn't even be allowed on a boat anymore.
Yeah.
I did hear a story that I think between the time he went to prison, he was invited to this like crisis training to lead or like make a speech. I don't know. He was like invited by this place to lead a training on crisis
Almost like he's
management.
because he's like an expert.
Yeah.
What? That's
He
so
was like,
opposite.
Well, it makes sense. I'm an expert at this. I was like,
oh my God, the backwards thinking of it all.
I've never met someone so unaware of themselves.
That's so infuriating.
It was wild. I think the place ended up apologizing for bringing him in, but I'm like, what rock are you living under?
You literally get him out of prison?
I don't think he was in jail yet. I think it was before he went to jail. But
still,
it was crazy.
Out of all the people. Okay. Yeah. Well,
that's it. Hope you guys liked it. Yeah. Cruise ship disaster. It was time to do it.
It was time to do it. Thank you for doing it.
You're welcome.
let's do a city
of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that goes to Santa Clara, California.
Hey.
Hey-o.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for binging. Thank you for telling your friends.
Love and appreciate you and your support.
Yes. Shout out to you. What else?
I mean, we got to get our little kiddos to bed because we plan to go to the fair later. So.
Oh yeah, nap time is imminent, and we're trying. This is going to be the first time we've taken Theo to the fair.
How
So,
exciting.
I'm excited and scared.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fine. It'll be fun. There's going to be animals. He can't go on any rides, obviously, which is fine because they're apparently so expensive now.
Ridiculously.
Yeah, like several dollars to ride one rickety ride.
Yeah. It's like 50 tickets to do one ride. It's
But-
changed a lot since we were kiddos.
There's still fair food,
That's
Still
I need to
animals.
get shaved ice.
shaved ice. I bet Theo would like shaved ice.
Ooh, so good.
Got to figure out what we're going to feed him. So yeah.
Same. I have the picky child though, so she's probably just gonna eat an elephant ear.
Hey, that's a good choice, though.
I'm hoping she does because she hasn't tried it yet. So
They're so good. And it's not going to be like insanely hot today, which is really nice. It's
no,
like
it
low
actually should be
80s.
really nice.
Yeah, and, which has not been the case for the last several years.
Yeah, it's been like 90s, like just
hotter than Hades, full of people.
hate it.
Terrible. So yeah, that's what
So
we're
yeah,
doing.
we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna live life as families.
Family.
Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Good app.
Good night.
Jesus.
All right, for my sources, I went to Britannica.com, Wikipedia.com, TheIndependent.co.uk, TheGuardian.com, CNN.com, and Stuff You Should Know podcast. Our music is by Broke for Free, and we are edited by Michael.
And Matt Edwards.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Go ahead.
And Matt Edwards also did some music. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Should I list our social needs?
Please do.
We have a lot of our things at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. So that's our handle for both of our Facebook page and group, along with our Instagram and Gmail.
We have a Twitter at AA the Pod.
You can support us on patreon.com/anxious and afraid.
If you do that, you get some pretty nice perks. You get ad-free episodes that are released a whole day early, and you get a free sticker.
You can also support us for free if you can't do any of that by leaving a rate review. You subscribe to the show, tell your friends.
Yeah, we would appreciate all of it.